And I am very excited to have with us in our third segment, along with props, Betsy Loring, who is the Director of Exhibits for the Ecotarium. And the Ecotarium, some people who might not be familiar with it, and they should, but was previously known as the New England Science Center in years back, but a rebranding, a whole bunch of new investments and programs. Betsy, one of the programs that you're going to share with us is City Science.
Yes. Well, we're a museum of science and nature, as you know. We were actually founded in 1825, so we've had a number of names since then. But we're a museum of science and nature, and we try to engage people in basically really what we are as part of the STEM pipeline, and helping people develop their sort of 21st century skills, especially around science, technology, engineering, and math. One of the ways we're doing that is through our permanent exhibits. And in late 2016, we'll be opening something called City Science, which is all about the science that's right around you in the world that you never stop to notice.
We've got birds and houses and things. I mean, one of the things that I really think the Ecotarium has done a great job with and continues to do is, and you mentioned the issues of STEM. You know, we know that increasingly the jobs and employer needs are going to be reliant on people having those STEM skills, science, technology, engineering, math, and all the data shows that the earlier we can get young kids, students excited about this, learning, grasping the concepts, the more productive they're going to be, the better they're going to do in school, and more entrepreneurial, you know, all the things we talked about. Clearly, a lot of this is aimed at that.
It is, and it's really about all 21st century skills, especially working collaboratively, talking out solutions, trying to come up with ideas. We have some National Science Foundation funding that has paid for some of the exhibits in some of the areas that focus on urban ecology and changing landscapes. So this is actually a model of what is soon to be a full-scale exhibit, all about the homes that birds can find in the forest and in the city, and when do they find an analogous habitat or not. So birds like this, people have to figure out, can they live in the forest? Can they also live in the city? And once people have experimented with a number of these interactives about urban ecology, we then ask them to design a city. And they can put magnets on a cookie tray. Right. You will notice that this is very limited in scale. That's true in any urban environment. You have very limited land, and you've got to make some value judgments. So how much green space do you want? How much infrastructure? How much do you want to green the existing infrastructure, maybe with a green roof? And we're really looking at, when people play with urban ecology exhibits, do they design a greener city? And
very Worcester relevant. We got the airport with planes. We got the train station with buses and trains. You know, good stuff.
Exactly. Well, we prototype all our exhibits. It's basically like the engineering design process. So we come up with our concepts, the science concepts we want people to learn, and maybe some of the social skills that they want, or the family interactions we want. And we bring them out in prototype form, and we go through a long iterative process. Things can easily go through 20 to 40 iterations. We took a lot of these over to our neighbor, North High, and worked frequently with the AVID students. And some of these items in this magnetic neighborhood came directly from the students' suggestions.
And AVID is a program that's in a number of the schools, trying to make sure that the students kind of extra engagement and work.
Right. It's really sort of a college preparedness and support. And I think it's very much around those first in their family to maybe go to college. We've had a wonderful relationship with North High.
And a very successful program supported by Hanover Insurance as well. You mentioned the National Science Foundation, and congratulations for receiving that grant, a very competitive process. But the National Science Foundation receives money from the federal government, our tax dollars, making strategic investments. What was that process like?
Well, in this case, what we did, which is a really common one with National Science Foundation, it's one thing to fund research, but what they also like to do is let Americans know, what does that research mean. So we partnered with Clark University, with UMass Amherst, and with Loyola Marymount out in California. The researchers there are doing the urban ecology research, and we were partnering with them to sort of convey that research to the public.
Well, before I ask you a little bit about kind of ways that businesses and organizations can kind of work with you, I got to say, living in the city, having two young daughters who are in grammar school, they get excited. The cardinals in the backyard, Dad. The chickadees
Right.
nesting in our gutters. The dove pigeons coming. What's
Yep.
the difference between a dove and a pigeon and it's a way. It's a gate. It's a touch point to engage the kids.
Exactly. I mean, one of my favorite comments when I'm out testing prototypes, we're listening to the conversations to see if people get the messages we're hoping, but we're also looking for those interactions. And one of my favorite ones was when a mother said to her son, "Oh, Jeremy, we should bring out the binoculars you got for Christmas. We need to be looking at the birds at home." And that's what we really need, is people aware of their environment. I mean, that's how the Asian longhorn beetle got discovered.
Right.
Somebody knew it didn't belong.
Right.
We need that informed citizenry.
And a few trees that look like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
But as companies and organizations look to engage their employees, to reach out, to get involved in things. I mean, Ecotarium's success is based upon that partnership, including the corporate community. What are the ways some companies can get involved?
All sorts of ways. Everything from sponsoring many of our programs. We have different themes during our vacation weeks. We have an electricity exhibit coming in January through spring. We have an asteroids movie coming out in December, another National Geographic one. So there are definitely just corporate sponsorships of any sort, but we also have corporate memberships. And what we like about that is that it's a really nice benefit that corporations can give to their employees while they're supporting the Ecotarium. So there's they start at about $500 and they go on up depending on the level of benefits. And you get some free passes in many of those levels that you can give to your employees, or if you have a community group that you support, that can be a gift you give. But we also have a membership month for your company, and your employees can come with a guest for free, they get a discount, and throughout the year, the benefit that comes to the employees is they can get a discount on membership to the Ecotarium for their family.
And chamber member businesses who are interested get a discount?
Chamber members get a 10% discount on corporate memberships.
Great.
So if people want to reach out to Tracy Dill at the Ecotarium, T. Dill at Ecotarium, we'd be more than happy to tell people all about it.
T. Dill, T-D-I-L-L at
T-Dill
Ecotarium.
at Ecotarium. Yep.
Well, and website, sure. I'm sure if people want to go on and learn.
Right. You could just hit info at Ecotarium and say you're interested in ways that corporations can get involved. I mean, especially for places that really want to engage their employees and show them the sort of rich cultural life that we have available. It's a really nice hook for new employees, for people to know what they have in their backyard for their families.
Betsy Loring, Director of Exhibits at the Ecotarium, thank you for being with us and sharing with us all the great things that are happening in the Ecotarium and the way people can visit and get involved, and companies as well.